And good afternoon once again. Just after 4 o'clock, weather not meteorologist Evan Hatter, as we have yet another severe thunderstorm warning that continues now for the northern and central portions of Butler County here on this Wednesday afternoon. As I mentioned earlier, or as I was thinking earlier, a year to the day since our last run-in with large instances of hail, and we do have the potential with this thunderstorm for quite a bit of hail as this thunderstorm continues to push through the northern parts of Butler County. They are the only county in our coverage area that is currently under this severe thunderstorm warning. This is in place until 4:30 this afternoon for Butler County, also the adjacent portions of Ohio County. The warning here is for the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail to the size of $half. That is going to be 1¼ inches, so that's between quarter size and ping pong ball size at 1¼ inches. And you're looking at the main view here is you're looking at the Morgantown Skycam this afternoon, which has a pretty good view of this particular thunderstorm. The radar showing this storm is moving horrendously slow at about 15 miles per hour, so it is just basically it's building on top of itself. There's not a whole lot of steering current in the atmosphere today, so what's happening is these storms are going up, they're raining themselves out, they're falling apart, and more storms are forming on the outflow, which is why these storms are staying mostly stationary as they continue to, well, functionally stationary. This one is technically moving off to the east at 15 miles per hour. The heaviest area of potential hail is going to be right on top of Logansport right now. That will be pushing shortly across I-165 where it crosses with 231 near Gilstrap and Eden. That will be the main focus for the core of the potential for large hail in excess of this is $half on these, and this warning does go until 4:30. These storms have been just sitting here functionally. You see the loop there as this continues to push on off to the east, and that's going to be one of our bigger threats as we go through the day, through the rest of the evening, is going to be the potential for some large hail and some damaging to gusty winds there in excess of 60 miles per hour. You can see the base of the thunderstorm with the lightning there. You can see the rain, the very heavy rain and the hail looking into this thunderstorm from the south. That's why we have the camera view up full screen, is because this is a wonderful look at this thunderstorm that is continuing to push north of Morgantown. In fact, slowly, we're back building that into Morgantown. That actually may be what we're seeing as the back building, or the as it kind of meanders to the south. The good news is, looking at the last loop of this, the hail core has come down a little bit, which is good news because we don't need hail damage. Again, we were here 365 days ago talking about hail in this particular portion of the Wobbles community, so we're no stranger to hail. It was larger that day, May 8th, 2024. It was closer to golf ball size, but either way, the bulk of the hail has been off to our south, and for much of the area, we haven't seen a ton. Folks in Allen County saw some showers and storms a little bit earlier, but so far so good there. We're diminishing some showers as they start to push into Logan County, so we continue to keep an eye on this cell. It's near north and east of Rochester and north of Morgantown at this point, so right on top of I-165, Beaver Dam Road, right where you get off 165 onto Beaver Dam Road, or get onto 165 from Beaver Dam Road, or 231. That will continue to push on to the east at about 15 miles per hour. That's what you see there in the far upper part of the picture. Marley's asking about anything coming for Bowling Green. We've got the opportunity for scattered showers and thunderstorms through the evening, but these storms as they stand are not moving very fast, and it will likely be a situation where we're dealing with the storms just kind of fall apart. Now, could Bowling Green catch a storm before the day is over? It's a possibility, but right now there's nothing imminent heading toward Bowling Green. These things are just meandering at this point, and that's where the threat not only for large hail and large hails falling over one spot for a long time, such as what we've been dealing with in northern parts of Butler County near Logansport, but also the potential for very heavy rain. It wouldn't shock me if eventually we get a flood advisory out for areas mainly north of Morgantown. But again, you're seeing the camera view with this particular storm. Steve asking about Plum Springs. We got a ways to go before this is anywhere near Plum Springs, if this cell even moves toward Plum Springs. What we have out there today, it's a very summertime kind of atmosphere where we don't have a whole lot of movement of the upper atmosphere. We got enough there to support the organization of strong and severe thunderstorms. We don't really have a steering current out there, and so these storms just kind of explode over themselves and will continue to do so until we lose basically the daytime heating. I'm not saying this particular storm is going to last all the way to 8, 9 o'clock, or at least 7, 8 o'clock, but I don't doubt that we could see more of these popping up as we head through the evening hours. But as it stands right now, this is the only game in town, and it will be for a while. We still have another 15 to 20 minutes on this particular storm, this particular severe thunderstorm warning, which at this point only takes in Butler County. You've been looking at it. I'll switch the view so you can see the radar, and we'll show you. The good news is the core of this storm has been coming down over the last little bit. You don't see as many of those darker purples or the deeper purples. That's indicative that that core is kind of falling apart, but that's where we have to watch in these situations, because that is where you can get the potential for quick burst of damaging winds, is when these storm cores collapse. It's called microbursts, and that's where we have to watch. Additionally, microbursts produce outflow, which act in an environment like we have today, which is warm and soupy. It's our first really big warm and soupy day of the year so far, and more on the way, I think, as we head towards later next week, where we get a little bit of a summer preview. But until then, this is kind of a summer preview day, and we're still dealing with more in the way of showers and storms developing as that outflow pushes out to the south. That's why more storms are building toward downtown Morgantown, even if the storm itself is pushing on to the east. Troy's asking, do we use Radar Omega? We do. We do use Radar Omega, and that's where our camera network is hosted through. The folks with the cameras there, the Cyclone Port network, in association with Radar Omega, that's where we're getting a look at these cameras. The cameras allowing us a look at these storms as they continue to push off to the east. Again, this thing's moving about 15 miles per hour. The good news here, the hail size has come down, so I don't think we'd be dealing with $half anymore, probably closer to nickel to quarter size. Now, quarter size hail can still do damage. That is still severe. And the storms we've seen today have been prolific hail producers, where we've seen some hail off to the east over in Greene County. They saw golf ball size hail near Summersville in Greene County, $half size hail earlier in Greensburg, which is well off to our east, but indicative of the environment that we're dealing with. We're under a level 2 slight risk for severe weather today, which is not uncommon. It's a rather common risk that we see often in the springtime months. Storm Prediction Center issued an outlook a few minutes ago saying that the ongoing large hail and damaging wind threat will continue. Multiple supercells have developed with reports of 1 to 2 inch hail. Large hail is going to be the bigger threat. Excuse me. But as we get the more storms developing, they'll start to collide with one another, and that's where you can get your damaging wind threat as well with some of these storms. And especially as these storms collapse as well, you'll have to watch the damaging wind threat as this continues to push on to the east and the southeast. Again, you're looking at our whole area here. The map is animated. The only warning, and really the only storm we have, is working through central portions of Butler County, where a severe thunderstorm warning is still in place until 4:30 this afternoon. But it is going to continue to eventually fall apart. Not quite yet, but still working on pushing off to the east. Patty's asking about Rochester. This is mainly off to your east. Some rain, yes, a possibility in Rochester. You're under the warning technically, but the bulk of this storm is off to your north and east. The heaviest part of the hail working toward Gilstrap now, over toward Eden, currently between the two there as you get ready to cross on Gilstrap Road there. Which you see on this map is signed Kentucky 1118, pushing east of I-165, the old Natcher Parkway, pushing on to the east. Tim's asking about Scottsville. You're in the clear right now, Scottsville. I can't tell you that, I can't, I can't with certainty say, oh, you won't see a storm tonight. You're not seeing one right now, but the potential continues. As we head through the evening, you remember we're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock tonight. And so again, this is a scenario where we see as these individual cells develop, they produce quite a bit of large hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Again, we've seen hail reports throughout areas just outside of our region. Grayson County saw, let's see, what did Grayson County see? From that storm earlier, there was inch-sized hail in Grayson County. There was ping-pong ball-sized hail in Hart County, just to the east there. Grayson County is just to the north of Butler and Edmonson counties, and then Hart County is just off to the north and east of Edmonson County. And that's where the biggest reports have been. Likely some very heavy rain with this pushing into Morgantown and Aberdeen. That's that gray look you see in the background. That is rain, and very heavy rain at that. The other threat's going to be, again, the 60-mile-per-hour wind potential, severe wind with these storms today. This is not a scenario where you're looking at a tornado threat for the most part. I mean, you can never, ever, ever rule one completely out. But this is a scenario where the tornado threat is very, very low. We just don't have the spinning in the air, in the atmosphere today. But we can get these storms to develop and produce quite a bit in the way of hail and heavy rain and the potential for wind, both as they start to push out and bow out as they work through, and also as they continue to, as they build up and eventually they kind of fall apart. That's what happens with these particular thunderstorms. In fact, I'm going to take, if I can here, well, maybe not. Well, actually, wait a minute. So what you're looking at here, what we're trying to look at, is the volumetric 3D view of these storms. It's a little messy here. You can't see a whole lot. Yeah, that's not really going to work. So I was going to show you exactly how that starts to fall apart. And really, that's the view from Nashville. I'll tell you what. Hang on. We're going to switch radar views here. This is the Hopkinsville view. What's happening right now is there are storms right over the radar site in Nashville, out at the National Weather Service office in Nashville, which is out by Old Hickory Lake. And so it's starting to attenuate the view from Nashville, from the Nashville radar, because they're right on top of the radar. So there's the view from the Hopkinsville radar out on Fort Campbell. And again, very heavy rain and gusty winds, the main threat with this thunderstorm as it continues to very slowly, very, very slowly push east as it heads through the evening hours. And this is a typical, it's a summertime setup out there today in which those storms blow up. They get very high up in the atmosphere, but the updraft can't be sustained very long because there's no exhaust pipe for these thunderstorms, so they start to fall apart. And as they do, the cold air overtakes the warm air, and the cold air rushes outward, whoosh, like that. And that's what causes microbursts, which can be damaging. As a matter of fact, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust a possibility. That's why 60-mile-per-hour winds were included with this particular warning as it was issued by the Weather Service. And then as that outflow starts to move out from the thunderstorm, that's when it can interact with the environment around it and produce more thunderstorms. So kind of the cycle begins anew. So yes, Morgantown dealing with quite a bit of heavy rain just off to the north of downtown. I mean, if you can see the view, in fact, I'll switch the view back so you can bring that full screen. You can see the lightning. That's heavy rain off in the distance, but it's not gotten to downtown yet. Folks are still moving about downtown Morgantown relatively unabated. And that won't last long, but eventually these storms will eventually move into Morgantown, bring with them heavy rain and the potential for those gusty winds over the next few minutes or so. Again, the warning goes for about another 9 minutes until 4:30 Central Time for central parts of Butler County. Still waiting on the latest from the Weather Service. And again, the potential there for brief gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, hail to the size of $50. Just looking at the radar signature here, I would say the potential is probably closer to golf balls. Or not golf balls, excuse me, smaller quarters. Quarter-size hail rather than $50. We knocked 25 cents off the hail size there as this continues to work on through. Donna says she's in Collegiate, where you guys aren't seeing a whole lot. Down over in Collegiate into portions of Edmonson County. The only show in town, the only storm, the only warning is right here in Butler County, right on top of downtown Morgantown. Sheila says a frog strangler in Aberdeen. I do believe it. It is right on top of you. These storms are not moving very fast. This warning is pegged at 15 miles per hour. So not only are you dealing with the potential for any hail that develops to sit there for a while, and that can cause some roof damage, but you also are dealing with extremely heavy rain in these thunderstorms. And so that can also cause quite a bit of at least potential for some minor flooding in areas. Of course, we don't need any more rain out there, but the heaviest of the rain currently pushing across I-165 toward Eden. Folks have been just very, very hit. They've been dealing with heavy rain for the last 20 minutes, and this thing's not over yet. So that will continue to push off to the east. It looks like the Weather Service is going to let that warning go or they're going to let it go. It's already popped off the map because the Weather Service has announced their intention to let the warning go. So the severe thunderstorm warning expires for Butler and the adjacent part of Ohio County. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits, no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property, but the warning has been allowed to expire. Let's see. Hail to the size of... They put nickels in here. This was the statement about 30 minutes ago before the warning. But again, just think about this. This is not an event where we're going to be watching, a big line complex of storms push through, and once it's over with, you're done with. These are more isolated, kind of scattered storms, and if you're not dealing with one right now, doesn't mean you might not, but it does mean that you just have to keep an eye on the radar. That's as simple as that. We were talking about the very heavy rain, and as Sheila's comment popped it up over there for me, we are now including a flash flood warning. It does include Butler County. The northern parts of Butler County, this runs until 7:30. Far northwestern Butler County, between 1.5 and 2.5 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 1/2 inch to 1 inch are possible. So this is for the small creeks and streams. So make sure that if you're near a creek or stream, make sure that you keep an eye on that, because this is the type of flash flooding that can sneak up on you. And this is for northwestern, northwestern Butler County, and that goes till 7:30, the flash flood warning. Basically from areas near Rochester up to Tilford, which is right along the Grayson County line there, north of Welch's Creek. So that is the deal. It is 4:25. The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire. It will expire. It's already popped off the map. Radar Omega does a good job at when the Weather Service puts out an expiring tag, just goes ahead and takes it off, even though it's not technically a cancellation. But the severe thunderstorm warning allowed to go and the flash flood warning taking precedence there. Again, these are just scattered cells. If we see more large hail later on this evening, we'll hop in. But this is not a huge severe weather threat. I'll be honest with you. This is not, we've certainly seen bigger threats so far this year. This is nowhere close to the top of the echelon that we've seen so far this year. It's summertime scattered storms kind of deal today, and that's what we'll be dealing with as we head through the evening. So just keep an eye on the radar, keep an eye to the sky. If anything more threatens, we'll hop back on. The severe thunderstorm watch is in effect through 8 o'clock. Again, Nikki's asking about Nolan Lake. Nothing. The storms to your west, it's kind of blown up on itself, essentially. It's just a cycle. It's a summertime pop-up thunderstorm scenario where some of these could go briefly severe, drop some hail. That's going to be the main threat. The show has been across Middle Tennessee today and far southeast Kentucky. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings out there near Hyden and Corbin and London and Whitley City and Monticello, and further on to the south, just east of the Nashville metro area. But for us, again, dealing with the isolated cells, the only one in our coverage area is north of Morgantown right now. Continuing very heavy rain. Finally seeing some drops on the camera there into Butler County, our camera in downtown Morgantown. But for the most part, again, this storm continues to weaken a little bit. Doesn't mean it won't re-strengthen. But right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Certainly no tornado warnings in effect. But the severe thunderstorm watch continues until 8 o'clock. We'll be keeping an eye on it through the evening. Flash flood warning in effect for northwestern Butler County from Rochester to Welch's Creek up to Tilford, and that runs until 7:30. So watch the creeks and streams, especially in northwestern parts of Butler County. We'll hop back on if we need to, but right now that's the only game in town, not even severe. So we'll be watching things as we head through the evening hour. Ooh, hello, Morgantown camera. Reset. It's resetting the it's resetting the trying to get the water droplets off. Beautiful look at the tower. It's a wonderful looking tower, but you can see the heavy rain excuse me, that continues to work on with this particular storm. Nothing severe, but watching the potential for some flooding on the creeks and streams in northwest Butler County. We'll hop back on if we need to, but we'll let you get back to whatever you're doing here as we approach dinner time on a Wednesday evening. Thursday evening. I don't even know what day it is anymore. It's Thursday.